Okay, so this is going to be a really long video about my pins. After I recorded it, I got 2 extra pins, so let me go over those really quick. There's this one of Carl Fredricksen from Up, watching a 3D movie. I love this one. It's limited edition of 300. It's from the El Capitan Theater in LA. And then another one from the West Coast. This is a Disneyland 2004 pin, and the Dormouse is in it. I love this pin. Okay. So yeah, here's my board, and it's going to be a really long, possibly boring video about all my pins. Here we go. So this pin I originally traded for, so I could trade it again, but I just really liked it. It is the Phantom inside the crypt on the Haunted Mansion, with the hidden Mickey in its hand on the pin as it is on the ride. It's really cool. It's got a bunch of different layers. It's got the outer rim there, and then it's got the Phantom, and then it's hard to tell, but actually the bricks are actually they're actually textured, but then they're laminated over so that they're all smooth, but it's actually layered. But anyway, it glows in the dark. It's really cool. I didn't want to part with it, so I decided to hang on to it. And then you've got World Showcase, just a basic World Showcase logo. World Showcase, the place with all the countries in Epcot. One of my favorite places to hang out, to eat, to go in Disney World, and especially in Epcot. So during my internship, they had these pin trading nights every month, and every month it would be a different Mickey released at Disney World and Disneyland. And I didn't really like most of the pins, but I really like this one. As you can see, this one's Disneyland. So I went to these events and I got some of the pins to trade, and I traded online for this one. This is the only one I really liked. I think Mickey Mouse is a character that works best as the old classic cartoon kind of thing. This is blasphemy, but I don't like new Mickey all that much, you know, with the flesh tone and more talking and whatnot. So yeah, I'm a fan of pie-eyed Mickey, and I just thought this was a really cool design. I like the colors of it and everything. So another pin that I got from trading one of the American pin trading nights pins was this one. And if you go on eBay right now, you can see that these are pretty rare. They're pretty desired. Paris has these pin trading nights. So I managed to trade this for one of those. Kind of an uneven trade, but the person agreed to it. So I was really happy about this. That's, of course, Tiger Lily from Peter Pan. One of my favorite movies as a kid, Peter Pan. Really liked it. So I thought this was a cool pin. Alright, so back in the day when we had Honey, I Shrunk the Audience right next to the Figment ride there, turning into Imagination or whatever it was at that point, they decided that there would be an organization that would connect the two, the Imagination Institute. And even as a kid, I was into that, that meta stuff, the fake institutes that run everything, Simulacra and all that. So I thought this logo was really cool. I've had that pin for years. And there's Beaker and Dr. Honeydew, Muppet Vision. Muppet Vision's always been one of my favorite attractions. I went on it a million times as a kid, went on it a million times as an adult. This is actually a surprise release pin, which means they didn't announce it. It was just released in California, actually, for theirs. So I had to trade for that, but it's cool. It's limited edition. There it is. All right, now this pin right here. This was from years and years ago when I first went to Animal Kingdom. I was really into the Asia area. It didn't really have that many attractions. It didn't have Expedition Everest or any of that. They had just opened, and there was this one cast member who was really gung-ho about working there, and he saw that I was all excited about being there. So he talks to little tiny Max, and he tells him the whole story about Anandapur, which the area of Asia is actually the fictional country of Anandapur. And he told me all about the country and explained that this pin was the official logo of the country. And at this point, I turned to my mom and I'm like, Mom, we're buying this pin. Turns out this is not the official logo of Anandapur, but it's just, I don't know, I was just really into it in that moment. He saw that I was enthusiastic. He saw it as a way to sell an $8 pin, and it worked. And so there it is. And it's still a fond memory, even though I know that it's not the logo of the area. This came out during my internship, and me and a bunch of other cast members went to go see Toy Story 3, so of course I had to get the Toy Story 3 release pin. So there it is. All right, so on the left there, you got Mulan, and I don't know, just one of the last Disney movies I remember actually seeing as a kid before I got too cool for Disney. And I've always liked Mulan, so there's a really basic Mulan pin that I got. And then right next to her is one of my favorite characters from the Haunted Mansion, the opera singer. She's at the end of the ride because it ain't over until the fat lady sings. Get it? But anyway, she's hitchhiking, which I think is really cool because, of course, you know the Haunted Mansion ends with ghosts hitchhiking. And it's just one of those things that amuses me, the idea of this ghost that isn't one of the hitchhiking ghosts being a hitchhiking ghost. Like at the end of the ride, there would be alternate ghosts. But anyway, I'm a dork. And then there on the left, we got Hop-Lo, the little mushroom from Fantasia. One of my favorite segments as a kid. I loved Fantasia. I loved that segment. You can see by the little Mickey, that is a hidden Mickey on his foot, so you have to trade with a cast member for it. And I had some useless pin that I traded for it, so I got that. Then on the right there, I've got Jock. That is a soda fountain pin, so that's limited edition of 300. I'm thinking about trading that one. I keep going back and forth. I've sent out some trade offers, but I love Lady and the Tramp. It's a cool pin, but I don't know. I might trade it for another pin. And then here is a pin. I think it's from Paris. I can't remember. But anyway, there's Bernard and Bianca from The Rescuers and Rescuers Down Under. Rescuers Down Under. One of my favorite Disney movies, always has been, so there you go. Alright, so there's not a lot of pins of Remy from Ratatouille. Ratatouille is probably my second favorite Pixar movie. But this is one that actually looked mostly like him. It didn't look all weird. It's kind of hard to translate 3D to 2D sometimes. But anyway, it's not that rare, but I really like it. And right next to him is a rare pin. That is Olivia Flaversham from The Great Mouse Detective. That's another soda fountain pin. I love that pin. I love The Great Mouse Detective. I was really fortunate to trade for that one because the pin that I had I could not care less about. So I was really happy about getting that. And then here's just a basic Thumper pin. I think it's from Disney World. I traded for it, but it's from like 2000 or something like that. It's not that rare. I was asking my mom about Bambi one day. And I was like, Mom, did I like Bambi as a kid? I can't remember, because my opinion of it now is that it's not all that great. And she's like, well, I don't know if you liked Bambi, but you really liked Thumper. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was just really pleased with that answer. I was like, you know what? Thumper is cool. He's enthusiastic. He hits his foot. You know, he's the go-getter of the movie. So there's Thumper. All right, so this is a pin that I traded for from Japan. It came in the mail from Japan. I traded for this. I really like how they have a big contrast between Chip and Dale in Japan. And actually this arrived in the mail on a day when I ended up baking a bunch of cookies. I was considering trading this one, but then I decided once it arrived on my cookie day, I was like, no, I'm going to hang on to that. So I've got it here on my character row. I really like this pin. Again, I like how they're the two different colors. All right, so this is a rack pin from Paris. I did trade internationally for this one. Rack pin means you can actually purchase it. So there's Alice and Dinah. Alice in Wonderland's always been one of my favorite Disney movies. I feel like I've said that a lot, but I've got pins of all my favorites. What do you want? And Dinah is a really cute Disney cat, probably the cutest Disney cat. I'll say it, she's the cutest Disney cat. And so I wanted a pin with Dinah. And then here is another Paris pin. This is actually a trade-only pin. You can see on the tail here the little very, very small shape of the cast member name tag, which means this is a trade-only pin. So this is from Paris. It's Louis from Princess and the Frog. He's my favorite character from that movie. Pretty good movie. Not my favorite, but pretty good, and good character. I thought this was a good addition to this row. Alright, so now we're on the Safari row, or mostly Safari. So this pin is limited edition. I am the only person I've talked to at the Safari who owns this pin, so yeah. I got this pin for free, actually. What happened was I sent someone an online pin request saying, I will trade you this pin for this pin or this pin. And they ended up saying, okay, you'll trade me this pin for both of them? And I went, sure. And so I basically got a free pin, and I traded one of those pins for this one. So we do not have meerkats at the Safari, but we do have some warthogs. And whenever you drive by the warthogs, people always go, Pumbaa! Now, I get kind of bothered when people do that for some of the other animals, but I think it's cool because, no one really knew much about warthogs until The Lion King. And it's cool that they get so excited about the warthogs, because the warthogs are actually pretty cool. So I got this pin. It's Timon and Pumbaa on Safari. You can see a safari truck. You can even see the Baobab tree in 3D. It's a very large pin. It's a really cool limited edition pin. And if you're a Safari cast member, it's especially cool. So for you park historians, you remember that on the Safari there used to be the plane that would radio in, and you would actually see the plane at the end of the ride. So this is a limited edition pin with a spinning propeller of that plane. And it's cool because it doesn't actually say Kilimanjaro Safaris. It says, the actual name of the place within the context of the story of the ride, Harambe Wildlife Reserve. And again, it's cool if you're a big park dork or if you're a cast member who's worked at the safari. This is once again from when I first visited Animal Kingdom. This is from 2000. And this pin is just a basic Harambe Wildlife Reserve logo. Little did I know I would end up working at the very attraction that had this logo. No idea. Never would have guessed that. Okay, now this pin, again, you gotta be familiar with the ride and, the whole anti-poaching storyline and all of that. But actually, when they first opened the ride, they had about 5 or 6 pins that they gave to cast members working there that they would wear as part of their costume. They only gave that when they first opened it. So this pin is one of those pins. So I'm really, really happy I managed to find this. Anti-Poaching Squad official member. I actually wore this to work one day when I was working on the safari, and they didn't care, so I probably should have kept it on, just added a little bit of flair to my outfit, Office Space reference. But yeah, I really, really like this because, again, this is old school from when they first opened the ride. And then this pin has been around forever. It's not limited edition. They keep making it. There's a bunch of different versions of it, but it's always this logo. I couldn't work at Kilimanjaro Safaris and not have this logo. I had to get this pin, so there you go. And then this is a really basic, not especially interesting or well-designed pin, but it's a Kilimanjaro Safaris pin. It was small. It was easy to trade for because it's not rare, so I decided to get it. Okay, so this is an attraction that they got rid of. There's a river that goes through the Animal Kingdom, and they originally had this boat that took you around. People didn't really like the boat. They thought it was lame, but there was like a dinosaur you would go by, and there was a cave where like fire would come out and a dragon would be roaring at you. Turns out they never made that dragon thing, and now it's going to be Avatar Land. But yeah, I like pins of extinct attractions, and I thought this would be good to go along with my safari pins. So if you go on pinpicks.com, they have a really good search, and I was just wondering one day, do they have a pin of the python from Jungle Cruise? And it turns out they do have one in particular, and I sent out a trade request, and I was able to trade something I didn't really care about for it. And there it is. I like the Jungle Cruise. It's fun. I always like the Jungle Cruise. Okay, I was surprised that this pin exists. This has always been one of my favorite things at studios, formerly MGM Studios, currently Hollywood Studios. And this is Sid's. This is where they have the memorabilia from movies. I always thought this was fascinating as a kid. I imagine that as an adult I would go there with a bunch of money and buy a bunch of stuff. I didn't. I don't really want to, but it's a really cool place, and it's really, really neat. Alright, so on the left there, I'm sorry to say I will never have enough Haunted Mansion pins. I love the Haunted Mansion so much. And that is one of the dueling portraits. Not both of them? No, not both of them. Just one. I just wanted one, okay? I'm not greedy. But yeah, in the ballroom scene, the 2 portraits that shoot each other, I love that. I love that. On the right there, that's from New Fantasyland. And it's one of the posters for the Great Goofini. I just thought the artwork was cool. It was an easy enough pin to trade for. I don't have a great story there, but I thought it was cool. So here is a ride that I never went on. This is Superstar Limo, which they squashed pretty quickly. It was a much hated attraction over at California Adventure, which I've never been to. But yeah, look up a video of this ride, and I think you'll know why they decided to change it to Monsters, Inc. Alright, so this is one of the portraits from the Haunted Mansion that changes. Actually, if you put this pin under a black light, it changes. If you're familiar with Haunted Mansion, you know what I'm talking about. It's a really cool pin. I usually don't go for the pins that have like actual photos in them. I prefer more pins in the style of pins. But this one, I had to have the actual thing. It just looks really cool in miniature. I actually wore this when I met Guillermo del Toro. He didn't notice, though. He did not, but he's a big Haunted Mansion fan. Alright, so I struggled for a while trying to find a Tower of Terror pin that was sort of in the style of the Tower of Terror. A lot of them have like Mickey and stuff. I was like, no, I want something appropriate to the ride. Tower of Terror is one of my favorite rides. It always has been. I love it. I was afraid to go on it for a while after I'd actually been on it. But I've since built up the bravery to go on it, and I've been on it so many times. But I thought this one was appropriate. This is actually a California Adventure pin, but I don't care. So this is a pin that I got when I first went on Expedition Everest for the very, very first time. And at a young age of 21, I turned to my mother and I said, "Mom, can you buy me this pin?" And she did. So there it is. It never stays straight because it's sort of weighed down by the Yeti here. But there it is. First time I ever went on. It's a cool ride. I love it. So here's something that is long gone. The Disney Institute used to get to take these little classes at Disney. And if you look right here at this green square, that's actually the logo for Discovery Island, which was this little island where they had animals way before Animal Kingdom. So I got to take the little class or whatever there. My mom took the cooking class. My dad went on a fishing expedition, which I think was different from the Institute. But there was just this one vacation where we all went our separate ways, and it was really cool. So I got this pin to commemorate it, and as you can see by the year, I've had this for a while. So this is a replica pin of the IDs that the people that work at Imagineering use. And they have these for a bunch of different characters, and their hire date is the year that their attraction opened. I really like this one in particular because, first of all, I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I like the idea that the redhead on the ride is coming in to work every day. And I don't know, it amuses me, the idea that she would come in through the gates and show her ID and get into place on the ride to perform all day. So there you have it. And then this pin, as you can see, Hidden Mickey, means it's trade only. This is for the Maelstrom. Always been one of my favorite rides, and it's a replica of a Fast Pass for it. Not much to say about this. It's not actually the right color for the Fast Pass, but I don't care, because it's a Maelstrom pin. Alright, so this is a very, very small pin for the Hollywood Tower Hotel, aka the Tower of Terror. I use it as a die tack. It was easy to trade for. I like it. And here we have Splash Mountain. This is, I think, the first pin I ever got, so this is from '94, something crazy like that. Splash Mountain, really liked it as a kid. I was really enthusiastic that I was tall enough to go on it. Splash Mountain. Alright, so when I first learned about pin trading, this was in like 2000, I think, or 99, prior to the big 2000 celebration. I went to Disney, and my mom had explained to me, oh, they have this new pin trading thing, and you can ask anyone to trade pins with you. So I've got my lanyard and a bunch of pins on it, and no one's really trading pins. It hadn't really become a thing yet. And then finally, I see someone, and it's this guy, and he's got this lanyard full of pins, and I see he has a Muppet Vision 3D pin. And Muppet Vision 3D was my absolute most favorite thing in the world at the time. I still love it. And so I go up to this guy and I go, "Excuse me, would you like to trade?" And then this guy goes, "No," and he just like goes off. And I was crushed. I was absolutely devastated. So years later, I found an even better Muppet Vision 3D pin than that one. And here it is. You're looking at it right now. It's a logo from the ride. I love it. And so I hate that guy. He's mean and he's awful. And I don't know what he's doing right now, but I hope he doesn't like it. Here is another pin from so many years back. I've had this pin for so long. This is actually another one of the 2000 series. But anyway, this is a ride that I miss very, very, very much. Body Wars. I miss it so much. But anyway, great, great ride. I miss it. And I get to remember it with this awesome pin. And then my old school Star Tours pin, not new Star Tours, this is old school with Rex and all that. So there you have it. So there's a bunch of different versions of this pin, but this is the cheap one from the parks. It's, of course, the Ellie badge, the grape soda pin from Up. You gotta have this pin. How can you not have this pin? So once again, I'm really into the fake companies and fake places and all of that from the rides, you know, Simulacra and Meta and all of that. And so this is the company that runs Big Thunder Mountain, Big Thunder Ironworks. And usually pins like this are a bit more rare, but this one, as you can see, is just a Hidden Mickey pin. So the Hidden Mickey pins are usually pretty easy to get. So I traded for this one online, and I was really happy to find it. It looks like it's made out of metal. It's actually kind of cheap plastic, but it's great. I love it. So this was a pin I was trying to get for a while. Again, companies behind rides. This is for Expedition Everest. It takes place in Anandapur, and this is the Anandapur Mountaineering Association. I was trying to get this pin for a while, and then I did. The end. Okay, so I love the Epcot Food and Wine Festival. I was not there in 2009, but this is their coolest logo. It's Spaceship Earth as an apple with a bite taken out of it. I love it. So much food, so much yumminess. I missed it this year. It breaks my heart. But yeah, there you go. So, as a kid, whenever I would go to Disney World, I would stay at the Caribbean Beach. It was my favorite hotel. It's still one of my favorite hotels, and I felt like this pin really captured the style of the hotel best. And so, there you go. Another pin from the 2000 series. This is the Beach Club. I love the Beach Club. It's actually the closest hotel to any park. That is true. Yeah, I know. They got the ones that are like the monorail and go into the park. No. Go to the Beach Club, go to the back, walk to Epcot, bam, you're there. That is the quickest way to go from a hotel to a park. And it takes you right into World Showcase, which I already said I love. So I like the Beach Club. A lot of happy memories there. I've spent so much time hanging out there and walking right through it to get to Epcot. But there you go. Polynesian, awesome hotel. This is the only pin that I can find with this little guy, the little mascot. This is the original logo from when they first opened. So there you have it. It's a great place. Good place to have Dole Whip. Good place to watch the fireworks. All right, so whenever I'm down at the parks, I like to get whatever limited edition pins that they have. And so I decided to grab the Labor Day pin when I was down there for Labor Day in 2011. As you probably figured out, they have a pin for pretty much everything. And I said that I was just going to trade it, and I kept getting a couple offers for trades. I was like, no, this isn't good enough. No, it's not good enough. And then I realized I had fallen in love with this pin. I really like the lettering on it. I like that you can do this with it. So I'm not going to trade it. I'm going to keep it. I don't care. I really like it. Even though I said I don't like, modern, full-color Mickey. I do like Donald, and I like that he's... Mickey's hammering something. So I'm going to keep this pin. You can't take it away from me. So back when I worked at Disney, my mom had a habit of coming to visit me, which was fine because she bought me a lot of stuff, especially food. And I love the food down at Disney. So we were at the pin station. She goes, all right, pick out any two pins you want. And I forgot what the other one was. Maybe it was a Labor Day pin. But I picked out this one as well. And my mom was like, really? And I was like, yeah, actually, I really like Lady and the Tramp. And she's like, you do? And I'm like, yeah, don't judge. So this is, I feel, a pin that really captures the style of the movie and the art design of it really well. I love this pin. Love it. So as a rule, I don't like to stray outside of Disney for my Disney pin collection, which is why I don't have any Indiana Jones pins, even though I love Indiana Jones. But I had to get this one because this is the first time I ever went to Star Wars weekends, and it was the anniversary of Empire Strikes Back, so all the pins were Empire Strikes Back themed. So there you go. It's Boba Fett with Han Solo and Carbonite, bringing him onto the Slave One. It has the year and everything. There you have it. So I really like the short Lonesome Ghosts. It was one of my favorites as a kid. And so I got this pin. It spins around, but I'm not going to bother to turn it around because I can't on the board, but you get the idea. Yeah, it glows in the dark. Okay, so they did this whole series of steampunk pins, and I couldn't resist getting a steampunk Ludwig von Drake, one of my favorite characters, and so he goes up and down. Not really much purpose to it, but there you go. And so I just thought this was a really cool pin. Steampunk Ludwig von Drake. Okay, so this is the other Up pin that I have. If you're familiar with Up, you know what this is all about. Kevin is a mommy and all of that. So I thought this was really cute. Happy Mother's Day with Kevin and her chicks. And it's just great. It's very limited edition. Very happy with it. So, upon looking at various pins, I found out that there are actually 3 different pins of Maleficent eating ice cream, which just really amused me. So I'm trying to get all 3 of them, but I'm very happy that I got this one. It just makes me happy. Maleficent and ice cream. Okay, so here's another pin that never stays straight, but Mad Madam Mim from the Sorcerer's Stone, one of my favorite villains, had to get a pin of her. Okay, so this is a rabbit when in Toy Story 2, when Jessie calls the critters, this is one of the puppets that they have, is this rabbit. So when I first went on Midway Mania at Hollywood Studios a couple of years ago, they give you a prize at the end, depending on what your score was, and so this was my prize. So I was like, hey, I want my rabbit. When do I get my rabbit? It said it was my prize. So I ended up trading for this pin, and I was like, I got my rabbit, and that was a good story, wasn't it? Okay, so I am astonished, I tell you, that I managed to trade for this pin. This is the cursed music box from Mystic Manor, which is a ride that's only at Hong Kong Disneyland, and they only released this pin on opening day. It's limited edition of 500, and if you open it up, it has the Mystic Manor logo, it says Hong Kong Disneyland, and it has grand opening on there. So I actually managed to trade for this. It came all the way from Hong Kong, and I'm really happy that I got this. I haven't seen any on eBay or anything. When I traded for my other Mystic Manor pin, I also included another pin so I could get this pin. This is just an open edition pin. It's not limited edition, but it's the little monkey from Mystic Manor. I had to get this pin too. It's a really cool pin. A lot of the Hong Kong pins are kind of cheap, but this one looks nice. It glows in the dark as well. So this is a pin for a ride I've never been on, but I've watched the video of this ride so many times. I want to go on it so bad. It's over at Tokyo Disney Sea. So that's Japan, for those of you who don't know. But anyway, this is Journey to the Center of the Earth. Watch a video of this ride. It's awesome, and they have a series of these. They all open up to have various characters dressed up in the cast member outfit. So here you have Donald dressed up in the cast member outfit. Donald is my favorite out of the Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto crew. So yeah, I had to get this one. I had to. So one of my favorite pins, definitely for what is probably my favorite ride, the Maelstrom. And of course, if you know the Maelstrom, it starts off with, "You are not the first to pass this way, nor shall you be the last." So there it is on this awesome shield that's laminated and shiny. And then, come on, focus. Okay, so on the inside, it's alright. It's Donald. Again, I just said I like Donald, with the tree troll. And then in here, 25th anniversary of the Maelstrom, High Seas Norwegian Adventure, which is sort of the tagline of it. Gotta love the Maelstrom. And then this is one of the rarest pins that I own, actually. It's a sign for Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. I like Adventureland. I thought this was a cool logo. Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse is the only original Disneyland attraction that we have at Disney World that Disneyland doesn't have anymore. So take that, Disneyland. We've got the treehouse. Speaking of Disneyland, I really liked Rescue Rangers as a kid, so I was really happy the first time I went to Disneyland and they had a roller coaster of Gadget from Rescue Rangers. And so they did this whole series of the various weather vanes on top of rides, and so this is the Gadget's Go Coaster weather vane. And there's a Gadget silhouette there, so I really like this pin. So I am a huge Jules Verne fan, and I mourn the loss of the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride. And back when they had that ride, the cast members working there would wear a pin that looked just like this. This is a limited edition replica that they made of the cast member pin. And I managed to trade for it, and I was so happy when I traded for it, and I'm so happy I have it. And they don't usually make replicas of things like that, but there you go. So happy. So cool. And then Body Wars, that I mentioned earlier, used to be housed in the Wonders of Life Pavilion, which unfortunately is no longer the Wonders of Life Pavilion. They only occasionally open it for the Flower and Garden Festival, but that was one of my favorite places as a kid. So this is a replica of the sign that was out front in front of Wonders of Life. I miss it so much. Miss that place so much, but I have this pin. Okay, so this is a basic Test Track pin. Not really rare or anything. I just really liked Test Track as a kid. Now it's kind of special because they've changed Test Track. For the better, I think. But anyway, old Test Track pin. Okay, so this is a rare pin. this is, of course, the Peas from Toy Story 3, limited edition of 300, and someone put this on eBay for like the same cost as what it cost to actually get it from the one store in California that was selling this, that sold out really quickly. I don't know why they did that, but it was nice of them to do that. So I managed to get it for just the the price of the pin plus shipping, and of course now it's worth much more. So thanks again to the eBay seller who did that and allowed me to actually get this pin at retail value. So this is from my friend Marissa. She went to London. She sent me a text saying she was at the Disney store in London, and I said, get me whatever pin you can that's exclusive to the store. So she got me this one. I warned her that I might trade it. I still have not traded it, but as you know, I really like Pie-Eyed Mickey. So it's a cool pin in my collection. Speaking of friends getting me stuff, so my friend Connor managed to go to Club 33, and if you don't know about Club 33, look up Club 33. It's impossible to get into. He got into it. He's awesome. And of course, I sent him a text saying, get me pins and stuff. So he got me 2 pins. I traded the other one, but he got me this pin of the only pin he said that they had available at Club 33. It was their holiday pin. And so there you go, Club 33 pin. You can only get it at Club 33, and you can't get into Club 33. Okay, so I love Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, and I wanted to get just the right pin for it. So after years and years of searching, I finally bought this one on eBay for like $10. So it says Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. This little thing moves up and down. This chainsaw arm moves up and down. And this little thing glows. And of course, this is taken directly from the ride. So there you go. And so they had a special pin trading event that I didn't get to go to, but I traded for this one online. This is from the 10-10-10 event. They had this whole event that was about like a secret society. I don't know. Their events have themes. And I was thinking about trading this one, but it looks fancy. I don't like losing fancy pins. So this is from my favorite Pixar short, Presto. It's the rabbit from Presto. It's cool. And then right next to Alec Kazam from Presto, we have Pablo the Penguin from Three Caballeros. And just another character that I like. And then, again, big fan of Lady and the Tramp, so there's Lady. I don't know why she has kind of demon eyes, but I wanted a pin of just Lady. And then the March Hare, right next to her there. Again, I like Alice in Wonderland. And I like the pins that are characters and they don't have any sort of background, that they're just freestanding. I don't know, I just like things. Don't judge me. And then we've got the Small Buzz from Small Fry, which is my second favorite Pixar short. I love it. I'm so happy they made a pin of him. And then limited edition Scrooge McDuck and Launchpad McQuack pin. I loved DuckTales and loved Darkwing Duck as a kid, so I had to get a pin of them. And there you have it. And then I've got all these pins that I'm trading. I know, it's crazy. So there you go. If you want any of these pins, go on pinpicks.com. Look me up, Markabat16. You can trade for these. A lot of them are rare.